Alright, on 3. Ichi, knee 3. Your knee is itchy. Oh boy. Here we go. Welcome back to another Zip Productions video. My name is TJ Feralis. Let's talk. I'm sure all of us are familiar with the term procrastination. I'm sure many of us procrastinated in high school. It was just, I had some ridiculous bouts of procrastination. But no matter how good at procrastination you are, there are just some projects that you just cannot procrastinate on. And I'm here to talk to you about the worst project I've ever turned in. That is right, you saw the title, you saw the thumbnail. It's story time. During my senior year, I took a physics class. This physics class was pretty easy, and I didn't really study for any of the tests. There are a couple things that actually require effort in order for you to get a good grade in this class, and those were the projects. For these projects, we had a couple of them. There were some that we had to do a group presentation, and there were others where we had to construct something. We had to construct what is called a trebuchet. If you don't know what a trebuchet is, then this is a trebuchet. It's basically a catapult, but on one end it has a counterweight, on the other end it's a bag that holds the item and then it launches it. This was our final project. We had to construct a trebuchet that would launch water balloons. So a lot of people were really excited about this project. They were going all in. You know, they were going to spend a bunch of money and a bunch of time invested into their trebuchet and try and win the competition. Now, I had a couple partners. We were buddies at the time, and we just wanted to get a good grade on it, but we wanted to spend the least amount of time and the least amount of effort to get the A. We all had borderline grades at this point. It was either a B or an A, and we wanted to get the A, so we had to get an A on the project. My partners, there were two of them. I'll just call them Abe and Ike. So Abe, Ike, and myself devised this elaborate plan. We read the instructions, and then we asked the teacher, what is the bare minimum for this item to be called a trebuchet, and get an A. All that we needed to do is to make sure that it works and to make sure it has the components of a trebuchet. What are the components, you ask? Well, the main components include the bag that holds the item and the counterweight. So that is what constitutes as a trebuchet. As long as it is able to launch an item any distance, it is a working trebuchet, and you therefore get an A. This was perfect, because that means we could spend the least amount of time just to get the trebuchet to work, get the A, and then get an A in the class. So we meet up at Ike's house. It was 11 a.m. or something like that, right before the deadline of the project. Brilliant plan was scrap together some sort of working trebuchet, take it to class the next day, and all is good. Sounds like a brilliant plan. What can possibly go wrong? Back then, we were just dumb high school kids who were not resourceful at all, and we didn't really use the internet to help us. If we look nowadays, there's probably a million tutorials on YouTube on how to construct one. Back then, we weren't really using the internet, and that was our first downfall. So at first, we saw an example of a trebuchet on a picture that we got in the packet. We basically tried to construct it ourselves and made a little triangle made out of wood, scrap wood that we had at Ike's house. To make the base, we would just push two triangles together, try and somehow rig a pole that was the catapult part to it. We didn't really measure anything, so the base was kind of lopsided. It had trouble standing on its own. But all is well, right? As long as it launches a water balloon, we're okay. It would stay, but it wouldn't tip over with a counterweight. After a couple hours into that failed project, we had to make a trip to Home Depot so we could start it new. That was pretty frustrating because now it was getting kind of late. At this point in time, it was 4 p.m., we don't have anything done, and we're starting to panic. First, what we did was we actually started measuring the base. Might as well do it right this time, because if we fail, we won't be able to go to Home Depot again. If we don't have any wood, we don't have a trebuchet, we don't get the A, this whole plan is a sham. So we collect ourselves, we plan things out, we say we're gonna measure the base. As long as we measure the base, we have a good working foundation, and nothing can go wrong. For the most part, we got a working base now. Now, the problem with this base was it was way too light. So if we put any sort of counterweight on the pole, then the whole thing would tip over. We were thinking, doesn't matter, as long as it launches a water balloon, we're okay, we could still get the A. We were warned that the hardest part would be the pouch or the sling, making sure that it can actually launch an object. We have the pole attached to this unstable base. We noticed that when we constructed the base, it was too narrow. What kind of counterweight can we put on there? We think, what would fit? And we saw a crystal geyser I think it was a half-gallon water bottle, and we thought, it has a handle too. We can just attach that to the pole. Yeah, we could roll with that. You know, it doesn't have to look nice. We didn't have any way to attach the crystal geyser thing to the pole, so we just duct taped it. I'd anticipated that we would need some sort of material for the pouch to be made out of, so I brought an old bandana with me. I thought, hey, we can use this. We start rigging it up to the pole. We had a couple of ideas, but none of them were working because it was either a problem with holding the water balloon to get it to launch, or it would hold it too well, the water balloon wouldn't leave the pouch. So this is a problem. So we're thinking, oh man, okay, let's look it up. So we look on the internet for any tips. We weren't able to find anything useful because it all required materials that we did not have, or they just bought the pouch online. Okay, we've come this far. We gotta get this to work. We have this bandana. Let's configure it in a way that can hold a water balloon and let it go. Keep in mind, this trebuchet is pretty flimsy. It's way better than the last iteration, but as far as the counterweight's concerned, it's held together by duct tape. It's not the most durable construction. As well as the base, it's gonna launch the whole trebuchet with the counterweight every single time we test run it. So test launches, although necessary, it's scary for us, because if this thing breaks down, that's it. Game over. We can't go to Home Depot anymore. Home Depot's closed. It's 11 p.m. Our last iteration is a total wreck. It's not gonna work. So we have to make sure that these launches that we do is not going to destroy a trebuchet. We get this brilliant idea. Only if the bandana can just hold the spoon-like form. Why don't we use duct tape to line the inside of the bandana so that way it kind of has rigidity and can kind of act like a spoon, kind of like a catapult, but it's still a bandana, so we're not cheating. It's still a sling. It's still a trebuchet. We start working on it, and we get this kind of spoon-like bandana lined on the inside with duct tape to make it round. And now it looks like a cup. So we load up the water balloon, and now it's holding it perfectly. We commence the test launch. As we launch it, it's so violent. All the test launches are violent because the base is so light, like I said, it just yanks the whole thing down with it. And as the whole thing topples over, the water balloon nearly topples along with it, but it kind of rolls out of the pouch and bounces a couple inches. And it was so funny because it was at midnight. We just constructed probably the worst thing that any high schooler has ever made, and we are rejoicing. We are jumping up and down. We're high-fiving each other. We're so happy because we know we just got an A as long as we could do that at tomorrow's launch. We're afraid to test it one more time because we're afraid this thing's gonna fall apart. So we're just hoping that it's gonna perform tomorrow. So launch day is the next day. We meet up in class and we're just hoping, as long as it does what it did yesterday, we're fine. And we see all of the other projects. All of them are spiffed out. Some of them are giant. They look professional. They all look like professionally made trebuchets. We're here with this ridiculous looking thing with duct tape on it. It doesn't even look like a trebuchet. It doesn't look like anything that anyone else is turning in. We're a little bit embarrassed, but at the same time, we're joking about it. We're thinking, look at all these guys, look at all these losers who spent all this time and effort, where we're gonna get the same exact grade, and ours is held together by duct tape. So everybody goes, some of them launch 50 feet or something ridiculous. We're getting kind of nervous. We're thinking, what if last night was just a fluke? Lightning doesn't strike twice in the same area, right? So we're thinking, okay, come on. We worked so hard last night to get this A. This has to work. You get 3 test launches. Out of 3 launches, we just need 1. And on the first launch, it pretty much breaks down on us, but the water balloon, it bounces a couple inches just like it did, and we are rejoicing. And all of our classmates are looking at us like we're crazy or something, but we don't care. We know we got the A. We're high-fiving and stuff, and yeah, that's pretty much it. We got the A. All of the classmates, you can tell how much effort that they put into their projects and how little we did, and the fact that ours was held together by duct tape and we were using a water bottle, it was so stupid. Now looking back at it, I'm sure that if we were just a little bit more resourceful, used the internet, and got the right materials, it probably would have been way less of a pain in the butt to get this project out. But what was really satisfying was we used very little resources, and the fact that we struggled so much to get it to work, and we finally got it to work very narrowly. Barely did we get it to work on the launch day, and all that suspense made the victory that much greater. It's probably the funniest and most ridiculous project I've ever turned in. So that is pretty much it for me. Today is July 8th. You'll see me again on the 15th of July with another video out. For those of you who have been following me for a while, let me know what you think about the new story time. You might notice that I did not hop in my car this time around. I wanted to try something new, so just let me know what you think. So those of you checking the Facebook page know that I've been posting some stuff on my second channel. If you're interested in the second channel, then you can find a link to it down below in the description. I do post a lot of announcements on the Facebook page. I haven't been doing that recently, but I'm gonna get better at posting announcements and communicating with you guys more frequently. And if you're interested in that kind of stuff, any news announcements and new content, you can find that on the Facebook page. So I'll leave a link to it in the description and you can go check that out. And those of you who have subscribed, again, thank you so much for subscribing. It helps me hit my goal. And those of you who are new to this channel, subscribing really helps. I do have a goal to hit 100 subscribers, so if you'd like to help me out with that, then the subscribe button is right here. If you'd like to help me hit that subscriber goal of 100, then you can help me out by sharing this video with a friend or family member. Or if you're on social media, then you can help me out by sharing this video on your favorite social media site if that's something you'd like to do. But other than that, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Congratulations, you just won free iPod Nanos for life or something like that, you know, or congratulations, you just won a free Xbox. You click the link, give your information or do a survey or something, and your computer would be destroyed.